How are you supposed to improve your credit score with a credit card when you can't get approved for a credit card because of your low credit or non-existent credit? The only way around the catch-22 conundrum is to comment, like, and subscribe. Now this video absolutely blew up on my channel and so many people liked it that we're running it back. Instead of giving you 3 cards today, I'm gonna give you 5 credit cards that will not deny you and are great for building your credit score. So whether you have bad credit or no credit, these are the cards that you're gonna want to apply for to ensure you get approved. And hang out until the end of the video because I'm going to be specifically telling you how you can efficiently use these cards to boost your score as quickly as possible, which will allow you to get some pretty high-end cards like this one. I'll leave links to all the cards we talk about in this video in the description. So let's get into it. These are in no particular order, but card number 1 on the Shawn Malkou list is the Open Sky Secured Credit Card. I refer this card to all of my mortgage clients needing to build or repair their credit. I absolutely love this card. So the pros: 1, there's no credit check, which is huge. You get a 100% approval rate. It reports to all 3 bureaus to get your credit score boosted as quickly as possible. Surprisingly, and I hope you're sitting down for this one, but this card has one of the lowest interest rates on the list today. It's gonna hover anywhere between 20 to 23% if you choose to carry a balance on it, which you should not. And for reference, most credit cards are going to be between 16 to 20% on an interest rate, and this list in particular is going to be a lot higher risk, so these rates should be a lot higher than the average credit card. Open Sky is pretty in line with an average credit card. But there are some cons. There's a $35 annual fee. That's chump change if you're trying to build your credit score, and it's a secured credit card, which means, again, you have to give a deposit to get the card in your hand. I can't stress it enough. The Open Sky card is literally my favorite card. The instant approvals are amazing. It has never failed me. But if you want a card that's got a little more brand recognition or maybe a little more fancy, then the next card on the list is the Discover It Secured Credit Card. And just like Open Sky, this is a secured credit card, meaning you need to drop at least $200 deposit to get the card. Now, I do have to put in a little bit of a disclaimer. Contrary to what the video title is, this card is not a 100% guaranteed approval. If you can't handle a potential denial, then do not apply for this card. However, it does have a very, very, very high approval rate. It's just the fact that Discover is a massive company. They can't handle as much risk as some of these other companies can. However, if you want to roll the dice, then here's the pros. There is no annual fee, which this might be the only card on the list without an annual fee, so that's a huge bonus. It reports to all 3 credit bureaus, and even though it's a secured credit card, you get some great rewards. It's 2% cash back on restaurants and gas stations, and 1% cash back on all other purchases. Most secured credit cards do not have any cash back rewards, but of course there's cons. Now, the one I mentioned earlier, it's not a 100% guaranteed approval rate. There is a credit check and there is an application process. The rate is also pretty high on this card, ranging anywhere from 27 to 30%. And then again, it's a secured credit card, so you need that required initial upfront deposit. The next card on the list is the First Progress Select Secured Credit Card, a little bit of a mouthful. It's overall a great card that I love recommending because it's nothing too fancy or well-known, but it's also not something that's bottom tier. It's right in the middle. That's a good, solid card for repairing credit and also getting a little bit of benefits out of it. The pros: you get 1% cash back on all purchases. Of course, it reports to all 3 bureaus. A little bonus on this one is you also get their app, which gives you a Vantage credit score. Now again, this isn't gonna give you an exact score of what your credit profile looks like, but it gives you a little bit of a gauge on how you can kind of improve your score or what's maybe not improving your score. But next on the list is not a secured credit card. We're talking about the First Access Unsecured Credit Card. This is the only card on the list that does not require that upfront deposit, which makes it phenomenal. Well, let me backtrack. It's a pretty average card outside of the unsecured nature. But I'm just here giving you options. You know, if you can't do that upfront deposit, that's okay. This card's great for you. So the pros, as if I haven't said it enough, it's an unsecured credit card, no required upfront deposit. You get 1% cash back on all purchases. We all love some freebies. It reports to all 3 bureaus. Their app also gives you access to Vantage Score. Now there are some cons though, of course. There is a one-time startup fee of $95, and then that startup fee turns into an annual fee of $75 a year. So it's definitely one of the more expensive fee-based cards on this list today. But again, that's because it is a unsecured credit card. And then to piggyback off that, since it is an unsecured credit card and the creditor has no collateral of yours, They have to be making their money somewhere, so the interest rate on this card is very, very, very high. It's gonna range anywhere between 35 and 38%. But if you don't carry a balance, which you shouldn't be, then it really shouldn't matter. All right, last on this list though is a very non-conventional solution, but is the Chime Credit Card Builder Program. First off, if you're a viewer on this channel, you'll know that I love me some modern branding and some great marketing, and this card absolutely crushes it. But this option is not only great to get your credit back on track, but it also has some great perks to use when you're out spending money. But some of the pros, this card has a $0 annual fee. But what's more incredible is the fact that this has a 0% interest rate. This is the only card on the list with a 0% rate. And if you're wondering how that business model works, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Chime and all credit card companies actually make money every time you swipe your card. They get a small percentage of that transaction. And on top of that, Chime is gonna be selling other products and services as you become a customer in their database. And then the last way they're gonna be making money is the funds you have in your card, they're gonna be actually investing those funds in other returns. So really, Chime's goal is to save you some money up front and to essentially make up for it somewhere else. But some of the other pros that comes with this card is the fact that there is no credit check, so you get 100% instant approval on it. It reports to all 3 bureaus, and their app also gives you access to a Vantage scoring model. But there are some cons. Now, this card is very unconventional in regards to the fact that it kind of acts like a debit card. You have to direct deposit money into your Chime account to then be able to start using it. So it's a secured credit card because Chime is gonna be collecting collateral for you to use this card, and it doesn't necessarily teach you how to use credit because again, it's kind of acting like a debit card. And the other con is they advertise that there's no minimum deposits, but if you actually read the fine print, they require at least a $200 minimum deposit on that, which is gonna be like other cards on this list, so they have a little bit of collateral on that secured credit line. So Chime is a little unconventional, but it did make my list, so I'm a fan. And you need to keep in mind that all of these cards on this list are great options, but you need to pick the 1 or 2 cards that fit your scenario the best. There's no such thing as an end-all, be-all card. It only matters on which one is gonna serve the highest amount of value to your scenario. Remember, just because you go and open 1 or 2 of these cards, it does not mean your credit score is gonna go up automatically. You have to actually use your cards properly. And how do you do that? You ensure that you only spend no more than 30% of the card's limit. So if your limit is $200, for example, the Open Sky credit card, you wanna make sure you're spending no more than $60 a month on that card. Now, I personally have all of my credit cards on automatic payments. You don't have to do that. It's just important that you do not miss a payment and you pay the bill on its due date. So think of it like you're using your card, you're buying yourself lunch 2 or 3 times a month, and then you're going ahead and paying it off. This is gonna ensure you're not spending more than $60 on your card and to make sure that you're actually paying it on time. It's really, really simple when you break it down. Very minimal spend and on-time payments, and your score is gonna drastically improve. So after a couple billing cycles, you should be set. And I highly recommend you check the link in the description for all of my other credit score tips and tricks videos. Lots of good stuff on there with some other great cards, lots of good stuff for boosting your credit score. I highly recommend getting educated on that content. Credit is insanely beneficial if used correctly, but nobody talks about it. So don't worry, your boy Shawn's got you. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this. And if you haven't seen the original video with those other 3 credit cards, I highly recommend you check it out.